Goodness, it's been a busy week. Thank you so much for coming to join me, and you are very welcome. Thank you so much if you're one of our new subscribers. We've had so many new subscribers here lately, so thank you so much for coming over here to watch my videos. So we've been lots of gardening this week, both at our allotment and trying to get some gardening done in my own back garden. So there's been a lot of gardening happening, lots of seeds being planted, and things have started to come up, but it's going to be exciting, I think, in perhaps 2 or 3 weeks when everything sort of starts coming through and it really looks alive. But that's been lovely, and we've been doing lots of yarn dyeing, sending out lots of packages, and it's been super busy, but I have managed to find some time for some stitching and some journaling, etc., which I thought I would share with you today. First thing I was going to show you actually is some of my journaling that I've been doing this week. And what I've said before about journaling for me is it's more about because you're sketching something, it's making you stop and really look around you a little bit more and being aware of things. And actually, this is the raspberry leaf. I do have the leaf around here somewhere. And the vibrancy of the colour of the leaves when we were there, I just thought so lovely. So I had to go and pick one and sketch that. And then that's my little raspberry splash of colour. The lavender's just started coming out in the garden, surrounded by bees already, just sort of in its earliest stages. And the daisies, which we have when we go on our walks, are just lovely. So I just think it's lovely to have a record of the year, but also it's that time just to stop and take a moment out from a really busy day or week or whatever for you. And I've been really enjoying that. I also did a little rubbing, so I'll probably cut that out, put that in here, a little rubbing of the leaf. Yeah. So now when I go journaling, what do I take to tell you that too when I go out on a little nature ramble? I don't take all these with me, that's not true to say. I take this with me. Bear with. So when I go out for a walk, if I know that I want to take the time to sit down, or if I'm going to the allotment, I will take with me my pencils and brushes, which is this. I would have shown this on here at some point. This is just something that I made to keep my... I may have even made it for crochet hooks, I don't know. But anyway, this is what I use it for. So I take with me a couple of pens, and I always use... Well, I don't always use, I've got other makes in here, but I tend to use the Micron pens, Pigma, Micron, all different sizes, because they're my favourites. And then I'll have my pencil, and I'll have a couple of brushes, and then I take a little pot of water, and that's all I need. I've got everything in there then for my stitching. I've got some watercolours, which I sometimes take, but I also have a much smaller tin, depending on how long I'm walking, that I might take. And then I'll have a little book with me, a little notebook to note things down, and that's me good to go. And the other thing I have, which I haven't got here, it must be in one of my bags, is I have normally a little wildflower identification book, which, if I remember rightly, that came from Cherie, Ollie and Bella. A long, long time ago she bought that for me, and I take it everywhere with me to identify. I mean, I very often will take a picture of the flower and then zoom in afterwards, but I use that book. That's my little collection of things I take with me. And I just wanted to show you these as well that I've been reading. I've shown you these before, I think. This is my almanac, which is the seasonal guide to 2024, which is currently just about to start doing June, actually, June in the garden, which I love. And then I also, last Christmas, I was bought this, which is the tree almanac, which I absolutely adore. You can get so many of these now, and I think they're lovely little books. That's that one. And the other one is a lovely old one, which is Nature's Calendar, W.T. Palmer. which is just a lovely thing to read. It's just one of those books that you sit down and read and you just have to let out a sigh of contentment. It's just lovely to read. I don't know, what does it say? Anyway, I don't know. I don't know how easy. Oh, look. I found that in it when I bought it as well. A little ticket. Wonder where he or she went on that day. Anyway, that's a lovely book. Nature's Calendar, W.T. Palmer. So the reason I mentioned the books actually is I've had a few messages. Let me bear with. I'm just going to go and get some books to show you. I've had a few questions sent to me, whether it's on Instagram or through the shop. Please accept my apologies if I haven't replied to you. I'm trying to get around to replying to all my messages, but it's been a super busy week. But I have taken in your message and I will message you to let you know I'm showing them on here. But I've had quite a few people asking about the books that I mentioned and they can't remember what they are. And so this is the one I would recommend first and foremost for your identification, and also because look, it's just lovely to have. Look at that. It's such an inspiration for stitching, for identification, and just for gorgeousness. It's lovely. I just love it. So that's the first one. So that's the Concise British Flora in colour, which is beautiful. There are masses and masses. I'll try and get round actually to putting a list up of all the books that I love for all the different reasons. This one is The Wildflowers of the British Isles, Garrard and Streeter, which I've mentioned before. And just look, it's just beautiful. Again, it's a lovely inspiration for your stitching. I mean, just that would make a beautiful stitch, wouldn't it? Just that little bit there. But also, obviously, for identification. This is something that I'm currently working my way through, all the different embellishers. It's beautiful. It's an absolutely lovely book, and you would be able to pick this up. All of these are secondhand. I picked them up through various different booksellers or out of my ramblings. You know, I always go, wherever I go, I always go into a secondhand bookshop. And then this one, The Concise Encyclopedia of Wildflowers, illustrated by John E. Sowerby. And again, where are we? It's lovely. And this is something I'm using for, I'm still debating my my quilt and what I'm going to have on my quilt. And I really love all these little clusters of flowers. You know, like as if you picked them on a walk and you put them in your journal, nature journal. I love that. So they're the three that I have sort of to hand at the moment that I thought I would show you. So all lovely, but to be honest, any nature book I have got a lot. I'm not going to say too many because you can never have too many, but if I ever see one, I just pick it up. And they're lovely also, just of an evening to just have on your lap and just flick through. It does your soul good, I think. So they're my recommendations. I just wanted to show you this actually. This is what Christopher. So Christopher he's got a much different style to mine. He's much more detailed and he will take a lot longer. But look at the result. So this is a little bee that we found and it was dead. Bless it. And we picked it up because first of all we thought probably it's just a second bee actually this week that we found. Although the other one was a much happier story and that did after a drink. Well, it wasn't there when we came back, so I'm telling myself that one flew away. But we thought, what a nice way to actually remember it by sketching it. So this is Christopher's little sketch. I don't know if he's going to add any colour to it or if he's leaving it as it is. I think he will probably annotate it. But I thought I would just quickly show you that. And yeah, I couldn't recommend journaling enough, really. I also just am loving just journaling at the moment because I think it's just a time you're just sitting down and it's just you and the book in front of you, and I just think that's good for the soul. So my nature journal, my stitched nature journal. Dear viewer, Charlie the Fox is on the Nature channel. I decided to go with it because actually I like his eyes and he's on the journal. So we first saw, I've called him Charlie the Fox because we had a fox in our foxglove woodtails called Charlie, but we first saw the foxes, well, we didn't first see them back in January, but we saw them back in January, and I've been sort of going to look at them all the time, and they're the most beautiful little cubs there now. They're so lovely and they're so inquisitive. So I stitched this on, and I've just written on here a rusty shadow with a bushy tail and some little footprints. And yeah, I'm pleased he's there. I'm very pleased he's there. And then some more little swirls that I'm going to fill in different ways. My little flower has been added on, and I've just started my lavender, which has just started in the garden. There should be a little reel actually, maybe on here, sorry, a short on here and a reel on Instagram, just sort of the process of that. And if you're one of our Patreons, I've been nattering on about that. So as ever, I am loving my nature journal. Or it might be at the beginning of this video, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, there's some footage somewhere of my process of getting my lavender onto fabric. So I thought I would tell you about the next thing that we're working on. It's called it's my little pin cushion that I love. It's called so our Floral Edit Summer Box. I did show you a glimpse, spoiler coming in. This is the main skein for that. I'll take that out if you don't want to see it, if you're hoping for a surprise. That's going out next week. We've been packaging them and adding bits to them this week. They'll be going out next week. And our new Floral Edit box is called Harvest Moon. Is going to be in the shop today, Friday, which is the 7th of June. And in fact, it will probably be in the shop now by the time this video goes up. Harvest Moon, it's the equinox. So it's the autumn equinox. So it's the time when you're going from the late summer into autumn. So the colours will be, you will have the summer colours, but they will be tinged with the browns that you have as the leaves start to fade, and you're going to have the hint of the autumn glow. So it's a kind of between, it's that between summer, the end of summer, and the beginning of autumn, and it's going to be very pretty, very muted, and I think it's one of the loveliest times of the year. So yeah, that's Harvest Moon going into the shop today, and it's going to be scrumptious. I should say what's in there. It's going to be a 100-gram skein, 5 20-gram minis, and then there will be a box pouch, but it's going to be a deeper, slightly bigger box pouch than normally is in there. And yeah, other bits and pieces in there, which I honestly can't remember at the moment, but it will be all on the listing, so that's in the shop now for you. The other thing that we have got going in the shop this evening, and again, it's something I've had a few messages about, is I mentioned a long time ago that we were going to have a Selvage Chronicles Christmas Eve box. Thank you so much for if you buy our Selvage Chronicles. We are quite blown away by how much that's growing and growing and growing every month, and how much you love your little box of fabric bits and pieces. And if you would like one for Christmas Eve, so it's literally for you to open Christmas Eve and stitch something, slow stitch something over the Christmas period. There will also be the option to add on a little box pouch on there, should you wish to. And it's also going to have a little pattern and some threads with it. So if you'd like a little something, a simple stitch and some scrumptious fabrics for Christmas Eve, that will also be in the shop this evening. So the other thing that I have almost finished is my cushion cover, the Earth Laughs in flowers, which was an old piece of stitching that I found. I did a couple of them, and this was one that never got finished, and I will add a couple of little bits to it more, but and I've just got that to put on there. But essentially, I think I'm then just going to go and enjoy it outside. So that's my cushion cover. And the other thing that I have become slightly obsessed with this week is are my little sew stitch squares. So these are, there's a lovely lady. Do you know what? I've realised that a lot of the things I've seen and the people I've been influenced by seem to have got their ideas from a lovely lady who I have known about on Instagram for a long time, called Spirit Cloth, and I think she's also known magically as the Cloth Whisperer, and it's Jude Hill. And I've realised that so many of the techniques that I've seen people using emanate from her, I think. So she does this way of joining, which I love doing. So you can see the way you can see these little stitches, the joining stitches. And that's part of it. You can obviously join these invisibly. If you're doing paper piecing, for example, you wouldn't necessarily want them to be seen. But I think this is all about imperfection, deliberate imperfection, being able to see that the hand has worked the piece, and I just love it. I also love this, which was the back of a vintage eiderdown, and this is this bit that had been mended. That's somebody else's stitches on there, so that had to go in. And the idea is that you piece together, so you'll have two little bits of fabric that you fold over the edges. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So you fold the edges over like that, and then you will do the same to the other half, and then you put them together right sides together, and then you will stitch that together, and then when you open it you can just see the stitches. I'll try and do a little video showing you how I do that, actually, because I don't know if I've been terribly clear. But oh goodness, I've been sitting there of an evening just finding little tiny scraps of fabric. This is what comes around with me. I think that was in a slow stitch box, and then one of the selvage ones, I think, and then all these little bits of fabric, and I'll find a little bit of fabric, and then I'll probably cut that. I think that would be lovely on here, actually. Oh, I digress. Now, seeing polka dots, if you're one of our patrons, there's a video with me chatting on about this for quite some time, but I'm trying to work out how to do my quilt, and I found out that Jane Austen was a fan of polka dots. Quite frankly, that's made my year. So I love to have a bit of polka dot. I don't know what it is. I love it. So I'm going to add that in here. And the other thing that's nice to do, if you want to do a more faded piece, is to have your fabric. Again, you might recognise these if you'd had any of our Selvage Chronicles boxes. This is a little bit of Liberty, actually, which I adore. As you can turn it over, so because you can see it just looks a little bit more faded if you put it onto the back. So whereas some of these might be a bit brighter, if you turn it over, I should show you the back of this, by the way. Like the back of that, actually, it's really nice. So you can see you could actually have it even like that, which is also lovely. But I want in my quilt to incorporate some slow stitch, as well as some embroidery, as well as some patchwork. It's all going on. So anyway, this is my other thing. So thank you to Jude, because she is such an inspiration, and she has this wonderful relationship with cloth and an understanding of it, which is intoxicating, actually. So they're my little sew stitch squares, and I will try and put a little video up showing you how I do them. I mean, it's not difficult, but it's just nice to know all the different ways that you can join the fabrics together. So yeah, that's the other thing that has been bringing me much joy. So yes, it's been quite a week. Super busy. It's been enjoyable. We've spent about 2 days this week working on the Advents, and which is very strange, working on Christmas products in June, but it's been lovely. I've had lots of messages asking, because the plus treats on both the Advents and both Christmas Eve boxes have sold out quite some time ago, and I've had people asking that they would like the plus treats. If I can add some plus treats when I've got so many bags and box pouches that I'm making. When they're made, if I can, I will add some more plus treats on, but I'm doing my best. I'm wading through it. I have just broken out my Liberty candle, which is called Cashmere Woods, which is blackberry and musk, and it is amazing. It's a really delicate, beautiful fragrance, but you walk in the room and Anyway, I'm wishing you a lovely weekend. I hope it is lovely and relaxing for you. I've been watching the birds today as well. We've got a little bird bath in the back garden, and the starlings, the wood pigeon's been in there as well. Complete displacement of water for the wood pigeon, had to refill it straight away, and I've been out there twice since to refill it. It's quite deep, and the starlings and the sparrows all line up. It's quite an orderly queue, and the one will jump in and finish. The starlings will squabble over everything, but the sparrows are very well behaved, and literally one will finish and then the next one will pop in. Oh, it's so lovely. Anyway, wishing you a lovely weekend, and I hope it is filled with creative things that make you happy, and see you next week.